All right, sitting in a very nice establishment out in Dunmore East. We will come to that presently. The reason I'm here is to meet a man that, for those of you who remember me back in the radio days, very early radio days when I did a nighttime program, there was a song I always played called Night Song, and the singer of that was a man called Buddy Mondlock, and I'm happy to say that the man himself is sitting to my left and in Ireland doing a series of gigs and finishing up in Waterford this evening. Buddy, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Give me a little bit of a history, first of all, about you as a singer. How long have you been a singer, and what got you into it in the first place?
Well, I've been singing since I can remember. I think I was singing before I was speaking, maybe. Along with records, my parents would buy anything from The Sound of Music to Burl Ives singing about the Grey Goose and Peter, Paul and Mary records early on and stuff like that. So I was always singing along and joined the choir and as soon as I was able, and just started playing guitar at 10. So I've been at it for, well, a good long while now.
At what point then did you realize that maybe this is something I could do as a living and become a full-time musician?
I don't think I had dreams of it even that early on. Even at 10 years old, I was thinking, "Oh, this would be pretty cool." If I got to do this for a living. But then I also, there was all those Jacques Cousteau specials on, so marine biologist, that would have been nice, or astronaut. That was actually my first ambition. I really wanted to be an astronaut.
I could do something corny, couldn't I? Say, well, your music is out of this world, so why not be an astronaut? But
you won't say
I
that.
won't say that. No. When was your first trip to Ireland then?
First time over was in 1994, and I had gotten signed to this offshoot label of Mother Records. It was called Sun Records, S-O-N. The guys from U2 put that together, and my first Nashville recording got released on that label there. A guy named David Pennyfeather signed me.
Yeah, Dave. Yeah.
Penny Father.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Penny Father.
Yeah.
Did you, the fact that you came to Ireland then, did you notice any kind of difference between how you were accepted within Ireland? Because Ireland has a great reputation of listening.
Well,
listening to people like you more so than maybe anywhere else in the world. If you know what I mean. We really listen.
Yeah, I tweaked to that right away. I think there's two really important things in this culture, and it's language and music. Many other important things too, but those seem really central to Irish culture, and so that's exactly what I do. I write songs,
And your songs coming to that, a lot of them are very, very personal and very observant of maybe not necessarily your own life a lot of the time, but just the way you write a lyric is very. I mentioned a moment ago, Night Song, and you kind of sum up exactly that feeling of going to sleep, just that moment between sleep and awake.
Yeah.
How do you approach a song then? How do you sit down to write a song? What twigs you?
Well, that's one of those songs where it just came out as the thought was going through my head pretty much.
Yeah.
That's a very, very true to life song for that moment. I'm just trying to keep my eyes open and pay attention to what I'm seeing and hearing and feeling inside. It's like if I make a connection between something I see, a gesture, or something somebody says, and get a certain feeling inside that kind of blossoms right then in the moment. I think, okay, that's something there. I've stumbled on something. I try and write.
Do you carry a notebook? Yeah. Just have you a notebook with loads of different phrases?
I ought to, but it's really something that it's in my head. It's living there until I have a chance to get to the notebook.
I interviewed a writer quite some years ago, and he told me that he could wake up in the middle of the night with a line in his head, and his bedroom wall is covered in phrases that he'd remember from a dream. That moment you wake up.
Wrote it right on the wall.
Yeah, no hits yet, mind you, but nevertheless keeps on trying. You've been covered by people like Nancy Griffith, Janice Ian, I recall, and also Maura O'Connell, Ireland's own.
Yeah,
is it Chicago she lives in?
She lives in Nashville.
Nashville.
Yeah,
of course it does.
Yeah, and I moved there from Chicago 26 years ago now.
So having people like that of that stature covering music that you've written must be a thrill as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm thrilled and honored anytime anybody wants to take the time to learn one of my songs. I just think that's really cool that they would want to do that, and so that's great, and especially if it's somebody I'm really respect and like their music too. That's a huge bonus.
Yeah. Or who's going to sell a lot of records?
And that's a bonus too. Yes.
That's Buddy's bassist piping in there, and also sitting here with me as well as Martin Travers. And Martin is playing a support to Buddy this evening as well. What have you been up to?
Fishing.
Musically.
Yeah, did a couple of gigs in Singapore last month, which was fun. Never played that far south before. 1 degree away from the equator, apparently it is. So that was something different. Still writing stuff. I'm always trying to write songs.
And how do you and Buddy know each other then?
We know each other from and Mike Lindauer here, who plays bass with Buddy. I met the two lads in about 1984, I think, in Chicago. Mike played bass in a trad, what would it be, folk trad with an element of a powerhouse trad band called Beltina, and and then Buddy and Mike were friends, of course, and played together, and so got to know each other since then. And we only made contact again about 4 years ago again, I think, after all the many moons. So
this could be sort of something big then, yeah?
Yes.
You heard it here first, yeah?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So, we go back a long way.
Good. And had you been aware of who Buddy was prior to meeting him?
Not at the time, not in 1984. I didn't know he was such a big deal, but...
well, he wasn't.
Well, I wasn't. But let's be clear, I'm not now either.
But the funny thing about it was, I lived in Holland for, I was gigging out in Holland and stuff until 1989. Moved back to Ireland in 1989, and I suppose it was the early 90s I started to hear, this guy Buddy Mondlock being played on the radio and stuff. That name rings a bell. There can't be too many Buddy Mondlocks around who play music. And lo and behold, it was our Buddy here. But the first few times that you came to Ireland, I actually kind of missed you, or just wasn't around, and so.
Well, I don't think we knew where you were exactly.
Yeah,
we knew you'd come home, but we kind of lost touch.
This was all pre-Facebook and stuff, where you couldn't track people down so quickly.
The good old days, in other words, yeah.
Pen and ink days, and phone boxes and stuff, So that's how we kind of know each other.
Great. Buddy, with regard to what you're doing now, obviously you're touring, and this tonight is your final one in Ireland. But in terms of recorded material, what are you at?
Well, I've just put out a new record in the last year, actually. Anything in the last year is just now for me. Actually. Yeah. It's called The Memory Wall, and it's another Nashville recording, although it's not, I keep saying Nashville, but it's not country music at all. Maybe a little bit of Americana or folk music.
There's a twang in there somewhere.
Well, in a certain way, but it's... But great players. Nashville has some of the best musicians in the world, so I'm really lucky to be in among them. And whenever I need a fiddle, I can. There's about 12 guys you could call.
You see, I look at somebody like you and I hear your music, and I always liken you to the likes of somebody like David Gray or Chris Rea, who are two musicians who couldn't get arrested anywhere. They come to Ireland and they get their name in Ireland, and they become quite well established in this country. And I think it could yet well happen with somebody like you just yet. I think it's just a matter of the right people hearing it and getting it to the right ears.
Well, I've lived my life with that philosophy in mind, basically.
Well, it's the life of a musician, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, but the truth is, you got to be happy with where you are too.
Yeah.
Because there's no promise of any other fame or fortune or anything like that.
Especially these days.
That's right.
Well, I've yet to meet a proper musician. You know me by a true blue musician who was in it for the money. Money is great, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that there are many musicians who would just quite happily carry on even though they're broke, because obviously, and in your case as well, it's a passion for what you do. Yeah,
it's in your soul to do it, and you're going to figure out a way to do that one way or the other, whether you can make a living out of it or not.
The last song, that song we normally close our show with, is No Choice. And that kind of is just what you talked about there.
Yeah, which we're all going to do together tonight, actually.
Great.
If you show me the chords.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure meeting you, buddy, and I'm delighted to have met you, because all these years playing that particular song, Night Song, I never thought I would get the opportunity to do what we're doing right now. So thank you very much for being here, and continued success to whatever degree that is.
You're very welcome.
And us as well.
Hey, I'm a big success already. I'm sitting here in Martin Travis's living room,
Yeah.
looking out over the
Glorious
ocean.
view,
on a
yeah.
And thank
Great,
you very
bright,
much for
sunny
taking
day.
the time to come
Sure.
talk to us.
I've nothing better to do. Guys, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks. Great to see you.